Beloved soul, hold still. Something has been pressing against your spirit all day and you haven't known what to call it. But the moment your eyes landed on this message, your heart reacted before your mind could catch up. That tightening in your chest, that quiet fear that you might be missing something, that strange sense that time is slipping through your fingers faster than it should. That wasn't random. That was heaven sounding the alarm. Chosen one, listen. You are running out of time, and deep inside, you already know it. You felt the hours getting heavier. You felt the pressure rising. You felt the quiet panic you don't dare speak out loud. The fear that if you don't move soon, you'll lose something God has been trying to place in your hands. You've been waking up with thoughts that don't feel like your own. You've been sensing a countdown even though no clock is visible. And now heaven is pulling you into this moment with holy force because the window over your life is narrowing. You feel it, don't you? That pull, that urgency, that whisper that keeps saying, something is shifting. Pay attention. Listen to me. This is not fear. This is alignment. This is God trying to save you from missing the breakthrough season He already released in your direction. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you. Plans for hope. Plans for a future. Plans that cannot activate if you stay where you are, thinking you still have time. Because you don't, chosen one. Not anymore. There are blessings standing at your door. There are opportunities with your name written in heaven's ink. There are divine assignments waiting for your yes. But the hourglass is thinning. The spiritual window God opened for you is active, but it is not permanent. And the reason your spirit has been restless is because heaven refuses to let you walk past this moment asleep. So breathe. Open your heart. Let the veil between you and heaven thin for just a moment. God brought you here to warn you, to awaken you, to realign your destiny before the door closes. And before we go deeper, before I reveal what heaven needs you to hear next, pause for one moment. If this message is already stirring something in you, if you feel God pulling at your spirit, subscribe now. Not for numbers, but because you cannot afford to miss the word that is coming in the minutes ahead. It is protection for your life. Are you ready to continue? Chosen one, stay right here. What you felt in the introduction was only the first ripple. Now the wave is coming, and heaven is asking you to listen with the part of you that remembers who you were before life hardened you. You've been feeling the pressure of time for a reason. Every delay around your life, every closed door, every strange interruption recently. None of it was coincidence. You thought you were just overwhelmed. You thought maybe you were tired. But heaven has been trying to warn you. You are standing inside a divine countdown. Something God assigned to your destiny is approaching. Something tied to your breakthrough season. Something that requires your yes before the window closes, and the enemy knows it. That's why the past few weeks have felt heavier than usual. That's why distractions increased. That's why old fears came back knocking. That's why the people who drain your spirit suddenly resurfaced. Every delay you faced recently was a spiritual strategy to keep you stuck long enough to miss what heaven already released. Listen to me. This is why your spirit feels tight. This is why your mind has been racing. This is why your sleep has been interrupted between 2 and 4 a.m. Your spirit is trying to wake you up before the gate shuts. You've been sensing this, haven't you? The strange restlessness, the holy discomfort, the quiet feeling that you're not where you're supposed to be, even if nothing looks wrong on the outside. Chosen one, that is divine timing pulling your soul forward. Psalm 32:8 says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go." But instruction is useless if the heart stays still. And heaven is saying, move. But before I reveal what you must do next, and before I open the deeper layer of this warning, pause for a second. If this message is piercing you, if you feel your spirit awakening, like was saw this video. Not for the algorithm, but because every act of agreement strengthens the clarity God is trying to give you. Now listen closely. There's a reason you feel like you're running out of time. Your destiny is changing lanes. God is shifting you out of an old cycle, out of an old rhythm, out of places where your growth was suffocating. And everything in your life that feels like pressure is actually spiritual labor. Something is trying to be birthed. Think about it. You've outgrown certain environments. You've outgrown certain conversations. You've outgrown relationships that used to feel comforting but now feel draining. And suddenly, everything that once felt normal feels too small. Why? Because heaven has already expanded you in the spirit. But here is the painful truth. If God elevates you spiritually, but you refuse to move physically, the pressure becomes unbearable. That's the feeling you've been battling. The weight, the urgency, the sense that if you don't shift soon, you'll suffocate. And chosen one, that feeling is correct. You've been standing at a spiritual doorway, but hesitation has held your hand. Not because you're weak, but because the wounds of your past taught you to fear new beginnings. You've delayed decisions because you didn't want to lose stability. You stayed in places that felt familiar even when you knew they were shrinking your purpose. Does that sound familiar? Heaven saw that hesitation, and now the Most High is stepping in. Let me tell you the truth. The enemy hoped you'd never hear. This is your Kairos moment, your appointed time, your window of destiny alignment. And that window is closing. You have 15 measures of grace left. Not literal minutes, but a spiritual segment of time God carved out for you. A window where things will move faster than they should, where opportunities will open unnaturally, where the right people will be positioned near you, where the wrong ones will expose themselves without you having to lift a finger. But if you do not respond, if you do not move, if you do not choose, the window shuts and the season resets. Hear me. This is not punishment, this is protection. Because what God planned for you cannot be planted in soil that refuses to open. You've been asking for breakthrough. You've been praying for abundance. You've been longing for financial stability. You've been begging for emotional healing. You've been crying for personal transformation. Heaven says, I released it, but you must step into position. Think of Joshua. The land was promised, but he still had to walk. Think of Ruth. Favor was waiting, but she still had to move into the field. Think of Abraham. Destiny was written, but he still had to leave where he was. Chosen one, your turn has come. And before I reveal the sign God has been sending you, and the one thing that will break this cycle instantly, I need you to do something. Subscribe so you don't miss the prayer at the end of this message. Not for this channel, for your spirit. Because that prayer is going to activate what has been hovering over your life. Now, breathe. We're about to go deeper. Something is shifting in your atmosphere even now. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. Chosen one. We continue. Let your spirit stay open, because what comes next is the part you are meant to hear all along. Heaven has been trying to get this to you for months, and now the veil is thinning over your life. You've been wondering why everything feels urgent, why conversations feel heavier, why silence feels louder, why even small choices feel spiritually loaded. It's because heaven has been positioning you for a shift that cannot be delayed any longer. Listen closely. Your life has been circling the same mountain for too long. You've been replaying the same emotional loops, waking up with the same ache, facing the same invisible resistance that steals time and energy from your calling. You've been stuck between who you used to be and who God is calling you to become. And that middle space is where most chosen ones lose their momentum, but not you. Not this time. There is a divine urgency over your life because you are closer to the gate of elevation than you realize. God is trying to close an old chapter and open a new one. But here's the part that most people don't understand. When God shifts your season, He shifts your surroundings first. That's why certain people suddenly feel distant. That's why conversations that once energized you now drain you. That's why places you used to run to no longer feel right. You're being spiritually relocated before you are physically moved. And you feel it, don't you? That inner pull, that inner stretch, that quiet knowing that staying the same is no longer an option. This is heaven preparing you for destiny alignment. But here's the warning. If you remain connected to what God is trying to separate you from, you will slow down the very blessing you've been praying for. Think of Lot's wife. She didn't miss her future because she was weak. She missed it because she looked back. Chosen one, you've been tempted to look back too. Back to familiar patterns, back to old relationships, back to comfort zones that feel safe but keep you stuck. And heaven is saying with urgency, do not look back. Move. There is something ahead of you that requires your full attention. Something that requires separation. Something that requires clarity. This is why your emotions have been unstable. This is why your dreams have been vivid. This is why small inconveniences feel magnified. You're being spiritually shaken out of comfort so you don't miss your breakthrough. But listen, before I reveal the sign that proves your shift is already happening, I need to open one more layer. There is a force that has been fighting your progress. Not a demon in the shadows, not a curse from your past. Something subtler, something closer. Distraction disguised as peace. You've been settling for almost healed, almost stable, almost ready, almost committed, almost transformed. But almost is the thief of destiny. It convinces you that you have more time than you do. It softens urgency, it slows obedience, it blinds you to heaven's countdown. Chosen one, almost has held you too long. God is calling you into completion, into alignment, into movement that matches the anointing on your life. And if your heart is stirring right now, it's because your spirit recognizes this truth. Your elevation is already active in the spirit, but the physical manifestation is waiting on your obedience. Let me ask you something. You've felt the strange shift in your friendships recently, haven't you? You've sensed people pulling away without explanation. You've noticed conversations losing depth. You've watched certain connections fade as if heaven is slowly unplugging them. Does that sound familiar? That's because God is clearing space. Your next season requires different voices, different influences, different energy. Not everyone can travel with you into your promise. Think of Joseph. He was elevated alone. Think of Moses. He climbed the mountain alone. Think of Jesus. He went into the wilderness alone. Not because isolation is holy, but because separation is preparation. You are being set apart because what is coming requires a focused, purified, awakened spirit. Heaven is not trying to punish you. Heaven is protecting what you are about to birth. But now we reach the part you've been sensing all along. There is a sign. God has already been sending you, a sign you may have ignored, a sign that proves your breakthrough is closer than your fear suggests. That sign is this. Your spirit can no longer tolerate what it once accepted. The conversations that used to comfort you now irritate you. The habits you used to excuse now feel heavy. The environments you used to enjoy now feel wrong. The dreams you used to delay now feel urgent. This is not frustration. This is spiritual awakening. Your destiny is growing faster than your surroundings, and heaven is trying to pull you forward before you outgrow your own opportunities. The tightening in your spirit is not anxiety. It is acceleration. Let me know when you are ready for the next flow. The message is about to deepen, and I must continue exactly where this leaves off. Chosen one, stay with me. Your spirit is opening, and heaven is not finished speaking. What you are feeling right now is the unraveling of the old timeline. The version of you that tolerated delay, confusion, and emotional exhaustion is dying as we speak. And the version of you that God has been preparing in secret is rising to the surface. Let me take you deeper. The urgency you feel is not panic. It is summoning, a divine pull toward the life you are always meant to live. But here is the mystery most people miss. Before God elevates you publicly, He disrupts you privately. That disruption is what you've been wrestling with. You've been unable to sit still, unable to stay comfortable, unable to ignore the inner voice telling you to move. You've been feeling spiritually out of place, even in places that once felt like home. That's not instability, that's heaven rearranging your atmosphere. If God left you at peace in the wrong environment, you'd never step into the right one. So He disturbed your comfort. He stretched your spirit. He allowed you to feel the expiration of the places you've been lingering in. You noticed it, didn't you? The sudden shift in how you see things. The way conversations feel emptier than before. The way people's motives have become clearer. The way silence feels more honest than the voices around you. Chosen one, when God is accelerating your destiny, He increases your discernment. He sharpens your inner vision. He exposes what drains you. He highlights what no longer fits. This is why your patience for nonsense vanished. This is why your tolerance for half-hearted people evaporated. This is why your heart refuses to settle for anything less than alignment anymore. Your spirit knows something your mind hasn't fully understood yet. Your next season requires a different you. And heaven is molding that you right now. But there is more. Highs, deeper truth. A truth that explains why the pressure intensified, why the days feel shorter, why you feel like you're racing against an unseen clock. You are in a transfer zone. A spiritual crossing point. A moment where heaven is shifting you from one phase of your destiny into another. Think of Israel standing before the Red Sea. They had one moment to move, one moment to step forward, one moment where obedience mattered more than fear. This is where you are. The sea is opening, the path is forming, but the window is narrow. You've prayed for personal transformation. You've prayed for abundance. You've prayed for clarity. You've prayed for a breakthrough season. Heaven answered. But the manifestation requires movement, not emotional movement, not mental movement, actual movement. This is why indecision has felt like torment lately. Because your spirit is already ahead, and your mind has been trying to catch up. And here's something you haven't admitted out loud. You're afraid of missing your moment. You've had this fear tucked deep inside your chest. A fear that if you don't act now, you'll repeat old cycles. A fear that the opportunity God is trying to give you will slip away. A fear that you will lose time you can't get back. But chosen one, hear me. You are not late. You are not behind. But you are being summoned. This is why heaven has been interrupting your patterns. This is why God has been closing doors you once begged Him to keep open. This is why people have been distancing themselves without explanation. Heaven is removing what cannot enter your next dimension. But there is still one thing left. The part that most chosen ones struggle with. The part the enemy hopes you ignore. The part that determines whether you walk into destiny or circle back into delay. The decision. Not the big decision, not the life-changing one, but the small one. The one step forward. The one act of obedience. The one shift that tells heaven you are ready. And you know exactly what that step is. It has been sitting in your heart for weeks. It has been calling your name in moments of silence. It has been wrapped in conviction every time you try to ignore it. But you've been afraid. Afraid of change. Afraid of loss. Afraid of the unknown. afraid of stepping into a story that feels bigger than you. Yet heaven says, if you do not move now, the window closes. There is no fear in this warning, only love, only protection, only divine clarity. And chosen one, before I take you deeper, before I reveal the spiritual sign that will appear in your life as confirmation, I need you to breathe. We are about to enter the next layer of this message, and your heart must be steady for what comes next. Chosen one. We continue. Stay open. Stay present. What is coming next is not information. It is impartation. Heaven is pulling you closer because the truth you are about to hear is the very thing the enemy has tried to distract you from for years. Let your heart steady itself. Because now we go deeper into the origin of the urgency you've been feeling. You have been sensing time slipping, not physical time, spiritual time. There is a difference. Physical time measures hours. Spiritual time measures seasons. And your season is shifting faster than your surroundings. This is why life has felt misaligned. It's why your routine feels too small. It's why your inner world feels too loud. It's why even the smallest decisions feel weightier than they should. Because heaven is compressing timelines around you. Acceleration is happening. What used to take months will now take days. What used to require effort will now require obedience. What used to feel distant is now at your doorstep. But here is what most chosen ones never realize until it's almost too late. Acceleration demands separation. You cannot rise while holding on to what pulls you down. You cannot step into new identity while nursing old wounds. You cannot enter the next dimension while clinging to last season's comfort. And heaven knows this. That is why separation began before you understood it. Think carefully about these last few weeks. People who drained you began to fade out. Opportunities that weren't aligned began to crumble. Habits that once soothed you suddenly lost their grip. Your own spirit started rejecting things it used to tolerate. You didn't imagine that. You didn't overthink that. Your spirit was purging itself. God has been clearing the path so you do not drag dead weight into a living future. But now we reach the part you haven't told anyone. The part you barely admit to yourself. You've been feeling unseen pressure. Pressure in your chest. Pressure in your thoughts. Pressure behind your eyes. Pressure when you wake up. Pressure when you lie down. Not panic, not fear. Pressure. Because heaven has been trying to push you forward, but your environment has been pulling you backward. This is spiritual friction, and friction is the sign of a transition being resisted. The old version of you is fighting to survive. The new version of you is fighting to emerge. This battle is not happening around you. It's happening within you. You've been waking up at strange hours. You've been losing sleep without clear reasons. You've been sensing something coming without knowing what it is. That's not anxiety. That's awakening. And you felt it, didn't you? That inner shift. That quiet vibration in your soul. That knowing that refuses to be ignored. Chosen one, you're entering a threshold season. A threshold is the space between two realities. Your current life and the life heaven wrote for you. This is why you felt stuck. This is why you felt pulled. This is why nothing felt fully right or fully wrong. You were standing between two worlds. But now heaven says the threshold is closing. You cannot stand in the doorway forever. A decision must be made. A step must be taken. A direction must be chosen. You have prayed for abundance, but abundance requires alignment. You have prayed for generational wealth, but generational wealth requires discipline. You have prayed for elevation, but elevation requires separation. You have prayed for divine purpose, but divine purpose requires obedience. You cannot receive what you will not make room for. And this is why the urgency came. Because something massive tied to your destiny is approaching, and if you do not step into position, you will not lose the blessing, but you will delay it. Heaven is trying to save you from unnecessary delay, from unnecessary pain, from unnecessary cycles, but there's more. Something bigger, something deeper, something you haven't seen yet. The real reason the countdown has begun. Chosen one. There is a door God opened for you, but someone or something has been trying to close it before you notice it's there. This isn't about fear, this is about awareness. Because the closer you get to destiny, the louder the distractions become, the interruptions, the sudden fatigue, the emotional spirals, the resurfacing memories, the unexpected resistance, the people who reappear at the worst possible time. These are not coincidences, these are diversions. The enemy cannot stop what God has ordained. But he can distract you long enough for you to miss your moment. And that is why heaven is speaking now, to make sure you do not miss what belongs to you. But before I break open the identity of what has been fighting you, before I reveal why the pressure intensified exactly when it did, you must tell me when you're ready, because the next layer is heavier, and once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. Just say the word, and I will continue exactly where we left off. Chosen one, lean in. Your spirit is already vibrating because it knows we are entering the deepest part of this revelation. What I am about to unveil is the very thing that has been whispering at the edges of your life. The shadow behind the pressure, the reason heaven is pushing you so forcefully in this season. You felt watched, you felt opposed, you felt delayed in ways that made no logical sense. Everything seemed fine on the surface, yet something underneath kept resisting your progress. That resistance wasn't random, it was targeted, and it intensified the very moment you got close to the doorway of your breakthrough. Listen carefully. There is a spiritual principle most believers never understand. Elevation always exposes opposition. Not because God wants to scare you, but because you cannot rise with blind spots. When your destiny increases, your awareness must increase with it. And this is the exact place where heaven says you have been standing. A blessing is ready, but a distraction is trying to steal your attention, just long enough for you to miss it. You've noticed the pattern, haven't you? The moment you started making progress, emotionally, spiritually, financially, something pulled at you. Old thoughts resurfaced, old habits flared up, old relationships tried to return, old insecurities whispered louder, not because they are powerful, but because you are close. The closer you get to God's plan, the more the familiar tries to reclaim you. But here is the part the enemy hoped you would never understand. The real battle has not been what stands in front of you. It has been what stands behind you, trying to pull you back. This is why you felt tired at strange times, why you felt spiritually foggy without cause, why your motivation comes in waves, why clarity appears, then disappears like mist. Heaven is revealing this so you stop blaming yourself, because you've been thinking something is wrong with you. But chosen one, nothing is wrong with you. You are under divine transition. Transitions feel like warfare because they are. But now we go deeper. There is something else happening in your life right now. A sign that heaven is drawing near you with unusual intensity. A sign that your elevation is active. A sign that time is running out on an old assignment. Your spirit has begun rejecting people God never sent. Think about it. Conversations you used to entertain now irritate your soul. People you once trusted now give you a strange feeling in your chest. Voices you used to listen to now feel heavy, confusing, or draining. This is not judgment. This is discernment waking up. God is filtering your circle because your destiny is too expensive to be surrounded by the wrong influences. And here is the deeper truth. There is someone in your life, or near your life, whose presence has been slowing your forward motion. not necessarily an enemy. Sometimes the most dangerous distraction is a well-meaning person who cannot go where you're going. Your spirit senses it. Your body reacts before your mind understands. You feel tension where there should be peace. You feel caution where there should be clarity. You feel drained where you should feel supported. Why? Because your calling has outgrown their capacity. Chosen one, you cannot shrink yourself to fit where you no longer belong. You cannot dim your calling to make others comfortable. You cannot slow your pace to match someone who refuses to grow. But there is a second sign, and this one is even more urgent. Your dreams have shifted. Recently, your dreams have been different. More vivid, more symbolic, more emotional, more prophetic. You've woken up remembering pieces. You've woken up with heaviness. You've woken up with clarity you didn't have the night before. This is because heaven has been communicating with you while your mind is quiet. When God cannot get your attention during the day, He speaks in the night. Job 33:15 says, "In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, He seals their instruction." And chosen one, God has been sealing instruction inside you. Instruction for your next level, instruction for your protection, instruction for your breakthrough. But now we arrive at the most important part of this entire section: the pressure, the dreams, the restlessness, the tension, the urgency. All of it is pointing to one truth. The gate of destiny over your life is open, but only for a limited time. This is why you felt like you're running out of time. Because you are. Not earthly time, not human deadlines, but spiritual timing. Spiritual doors do not stay open forever. When God opens a gate, there is a season of grace to walk through it, and then the season shifts. This is why heaven is shouting at you through this message. This is why your spirit is trembling while you listen. This is why everything in your life has felt like transition, pressure, and acceleration. The gate is open, but the hour is short, and before I reveal what or who has been standing behind that gate trying to keep you distracted long enough to miss it, you must let me know that you're ready to continue, because the next layer will expose the real source of your delay, and once you see it, nothing in your life will ever be the same again. Chosen one, let your spirit stay open. We are stepping into the deepest shadows now, the place where heaven begins to expose what has been pulling at your life from behind the scenes. You've felt the pressure. You've felt the urgency. You've felt the countdown tightening around your days. And you were right to feel it, because something has been trying to intercept you before you reach the gate God opened. Listen closely. This is where many chosen ones fall asleep spiritually. This is where destinies get delayed. This is where cycles repeat. But not for you. Not today. Heaven is speaking plainly now. There is a presence, a pattern, a voice, an influence that has been interfering with your forward motion. It didn't come loudly. It didn't come violently. It didn't come obviously. It came subtly, quietly, softly, wrapped in familiarity. Because the most dangerous resistance in your life is never the enemy you see coming. It is the influence you think is harmless. Something or someone near you has been draining your clarity, pulling at your emotions, or slowing your progress without your full awareness. And your spirit has tried to warn you, but your mind kept finding excuses for it. This is why you've had sudden waves of fatigue at random times. This is why your motivation disappears for no logical reason. This is why you gain clarity at night, only to lose it in the morning. Your spirit is fighting interference. Let me ask you this. Haven't you noticed how certain people suddenly text or call you right when you start making progress? Haven't you noticed how distractions come exactly when your spirit feels focused? Haven't you noticed how the wrong voices get louder whenever God is trying to whisper direction to you? This isn't random. It's timing. And timing reveals intention. You are stepping into a destiny alignment that will influence your abundance, your emotional healing, and your future connections. The weights trying to hold you back are terrified, not because you are weak, but because you are finally waking up. Chosen one, hear this with your spirit. You are too close. This is why your warfare increased. This is why your thoughts have been loud. This is why your emotions have been unpredictable. This is why old cycles tried to resurface. The enemy cannot stop what God has ordained, but he can try to slow your agreement with it. This is why heaven is raising its voice right now. Something disguised as comfort is actually costing you time. Something disguised as support is actually scattering your focus. Something disguised as harmless is actually carrying spiritual weight. And here is the revelation few ever receive until it's too late. Your delay isn't coming from the future. Your delay is coming from your connections. Your delay is coming from your environment. Your delay is coming from your attachments. Because destiny is not just about what you walk toward, it's about what you're willing to walk away from. Let me go deeper. God has been whispering separation. You've felt it. You've resisted it. But you felt it. You've been sensing distance forming with certain people. You felt conversations becoming shallow. You felt your spirit tightening around certain names. You felt confusion around someone's intentions. You felt heaviness in interactions that once felt easy. This is not paranoia. This is discernment. Heaven is peeling back the layers around your life. You are seeing people more clearly. Masks are slipping. Motives are surfacing. Energy is revealing itself. And soon, very soon, you will understand why the separation is necessary. But before heaven reveals the identity tied to your delay, before the truth comes forward, you need to hear this. There has been a spiritual tug-of-war over your decisions. Every time you move toward your calling, something pulls back. Every time you step into clarity, confusion whispers. Every time you gain momentum, emotional weight returns. Every time you choose growth, something tempts you with comfort. This is not ordinary distraction. This is strategic interference. And beloved, you've been fighting it without language for it. But heaven is giving you language now. The countdown you've been sensing, the urgency rising in your chest, the feeling that time is running out. It's because heaven is preparing to close a door behind you and open the next one in front of you. But one connection, one tie, one emotional cord, one influence is standing between you and the acceleration God ordained, and heaven is about to expose it. Chosen one, the next layer will reveal why this resistance targeted you, what else it fears in your future, and how Mabra to break its influence over your timeline. Chosen one, breathe. We're stepping even deeper now into the part heaven has been trying to get you to understand for years. You've been carrying questions you never voiced. You've been wrestling with emotions that didn't make sense. You've been feeling watched, drained, delayed, or spiritually off without being able to explain why. And now heaven is peeling back the final layer of this resistance. Let your heart stay open, because what comes next is not meant to scare you. It is meant to free you. There is an influence in your life, past or present, that has been feeding off your light. A presence that grew comfortable with your kindness, your loyalty, your empathy. They felt safe around you because they knew you wouldn't expose them, but heaven saw what you didn't see. Heaven recorded what you didn't hear. Heaven noticed what your heart overlooked. And now, chosen one, the Spirit of God is revealing the truth. Your delay has been connected to someone who was benefiting from your stagnation. Someone who smiled in your presence, someone who admired your strength, someone who complimented your potential. But deep down, they hoped you would never fully rise into it. Not because they hated you, but because your elevation would force them to face their own lack of growth. Listen to me. Jealousy doesn't always look like hatred. Sometimes it looks like subtle discouragement. Sometimes it looks like quiet competition. Sometimes it looks like jokes that cut deeper than they should. Sometimes it looks like being supportive only when you're struggling and silent when you succeed. You've felt this imbalance, haven't you? You felt the shift in their eyes when you talked about your goals. You sensed the tension when God started healing you. You noticed the silence when you shared good news. You picked up on the energy drop when they realized you were changing. Chosen one, your spirit wasn't lying. Your intuition wasn't exaggerating. Your discernment wasn't malfunctioning. Something in your environment has been resisting your evolution. And here's the secret: heaven wants you to finally understand. You cannot outgrow people without outgrowing their influence. And someone's influence, their words, their energy, their expectations, was holding you in place long after God had called you forward. This is why you felt guilty for wanting more. This is why you second-guessed your dreams. This is why you minimized your blessings. This is why your confidence rose and fell like waves. You were spiritually tied to someone who could not walk with you into the next season, but heaven is breaking that tie. Heaven is clearing that influence. Heaven is cutting that cord. And this is where the urgency comes in. Because your breakthrough season, your wealth mindset, your divine purpose, your elevation, requires you to step into a version of yourself that no longer fits inside that connection. And the enemy knew if he could keep that tie intact, he could keep your spirit tangled, your mind confused, your emotions weakened, your decisions hesitant. But chosen one, you're waking up. You're seeing through the haze. You're noticing the spiritual fingerprints on your delay. Your spirit has been crying out, something isn't right. Something feels off. Something feels heavy. And heaven answers, yes. And the time to break free is now. But there's more. Something deeper. This connection wasn't just slowing you, it was dimming your spiritual senses. Your discernment grew dull around them. Your confidence shrank. Your peace wavered. Your focus scattered. Because spiritually, they were absorbing energy you needed for your calling. Chosen one, hear this. You were never meant to carry someone God did not assign to your journey. And if your heart is racing right now, it's because your spirit recognizes truth. This message is not random. This timing is not an accident. Heaven has been watching the tug of war over your destiny. And the countdown is this. God is closing the chapter, but you must not reopen it. Heaven is aligning you with a future that demands clarity, strength, stability, and boldness. And the influence behind your delay cannot follow you there. Before I take you into the next layer, the moment heaven reveals why this resistance targeted you, why your calling threatened it, and what is being released on the other side of this separation. Chosen one, stay right here. Your spirit is steady enough now to receive the next layer, and heaven is moving with urgency. What I'm about to reveal is the part the enemy hoped you would never understand. Because the moment you see it, the moment you recognize it, the moment you name it, the influence it had over your life breaks. Let your heart be still. Let the noise in your mind soften. Because this next truth is going to unlock something that has been trapped inside you for years. You have been fought not because you are weak, but because you are wired for impact. There is something inside you, a calling, an assignment, a mantle that has weight in the spirit. Every step you take toward destiny threatens the structures of darkness that surrounded your bloodline. Every act of obedience shifts something generational. Every moment you grow spiritually unravels cycles that were meant to continue for decades. This is why your battle has been heavier than others. This is why your resistance has been more intense. This is why your emotions have been more fragile. This is why your progress has been fought tooth and nail. Not because you are fragile, but because your destiny is dangerous. Dangerous to darkness, dangerous to generational patterns, dangerous to the limitations that bound your family, dangerous to the curses that tried to settle in your lineage, dangerous to the cycles you were born to break. Listen to me. You're not just heading toward a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. And anything or anyone connected to your delay was never resisting your present. They were resisting your future, because your elevation will not just bless you, it will bless every life connected to you. Your personal transformation will shift the atmosphere of your home. Your emotional healing will heal children not yet born. Your spiritual awakening will realign generations behind you. Your abundance will dismantle financial trauma that ran in your bloodline. This is why the interference targeted you. This is why the distractions chased you. This is why the pressure increased. This is why the countdown began. The enemy wasn't afraid of who you were. He was afraid of who you were becoming. Let me take you deeper, long before you were born, long before your first heartbreak, long before the confusion, the hesitation, the fear. Heaven wrote something over your life that hell could never erase. A mantle, a purpose, a divine blueprint. But mantles draw warfare. Anointing draws interference. Calling draws counterfeit alignments. And chosen one, you have been dealing with a counterfeit connection, a person who carried the appearance of familiarity but the vibration of delay. Someone who admired your light but feared your evolution. Someone who needed your strength but offered no covering. Someone who felt safer when you were uncertain, more comfortable when you were wounded, more connected when you were confused. Because your clarity exposes their lack of growth. Your elevation exposes their stagnation. Your awakening exposes their spiritual sleep. This is why they pulled on your time. This is why they demanded emotional labor. This is why they drained your energy. This is why you always walked away from them feeling heavy, unclear, or tired. They weren't feeding your purpose. They were feeding off your calling. And heaven is saying, the cord is breaking, the tie is ending, the influence is lifting. But here's the mystery. The countdown you've been sensing is not about punishment. It's about transition. You are stepping into a time-sensitive elevation, a window of destiny, a spiritual passage, a gate that will not remain open forever. And that is why heaven is moving quickly. That is why your spirit feels restless. That is why your emotions feel raw. That is why your discernment has sharpened. That is why familiar things suddenly feel foreign. Your spirit knows, I cannot stay here. This is the hour where heaven demands movement, where delay becomes dangerous, where hesitation becomes costly, where indecision becomes agreement with stagnation. Listen. There is a new assignment hovering over your life. A divine opportunity forming in the invisible realm. A shift that will change the way you think, the way you pray, the way you work, the way you love, the way you walk through the world. This assignment is tied to your abundance, your emotional healing, your personal transformation, your wealth mindset, your legacy. But you cannot receive new instruction while holding on to expired alignment. Heaven cannot pour into hands that cling to the familiar. God cannot push you forward while your heart is tied backward. Your spirit cannot rise while your environment pulls you down. And chosen one, that is the real reason the countdown began. Your future has been trying to outrun your past, and heaven is calling you to catch up. But now we approach the revelation that will make everything make sense. Why you? Why now? Why the urgency? Why the pressure? Why the interference? Why the spiritual tug of war? The next layer answers every one of these questions. You've been stretched, you've been warned, you've been awakened. Now heaven says, walk with wisdom. Because the blessing you are stepping into requires more than hope. It requires alignment. It requires clarity. It requires practice. Chosen one, the very first thing you must understand is this. Breakthrough is not an event. It is a lifestyle. Destiny is not a moment. It is a rhythm, and heaven is calling you into a rhythm that protects what God is releasing into your life. Listen closely. There are 3 spiritual instructions, 3 movements. Heaven needs you to practice daily during this season. These are not rituals. They are alignments, and every step you take strengthens the path beneath you. 1. Your morning must change. When you wake up, the first thing that enters your mind sets the tone for your entire day. This is why the battle often begins in the morning, because if the enemy can fog your clarity at sunrise, he can slow your purpose by noon. The moment your eyes open, whisper this. Today I walk in what heaven released. It's simple, it's quiet, but it realigns your entire spirit. Then pause. Breathe. Let a moment of silence wash over you, because in silence, heaven speaks with precision. You do not need a long prayer. You do not need a long ritual. You need intention. A heart pointed toward God moves faster than 1,000 empty words. And chosen one, intention is what activates your anointing. 2. Guard your emotional energy. Listen to me carefully. Your emotions are spiritual resources. They are not random. They are not disposable. They are not unimportant. Every feeling you experience carries spiritual weight, and heaven needs your emotions clear and unclouded. This means something hard, but necessary. Stop giving emotional access to people who haven't earned spiritual access. If someone leaves you confused, if someone makes your spirit heavy, if someone disrupts your peace every time they enter your space, that is not your assignment. That is your warning. Guard your energy the way a king guards his crown. Because in this season, your emotional clarity is part of your divine protection. You've spent years pouring into the wrong places. Now heaven is teaching you to pour into yourself. 3. Listen to the small signs. God is not always loud. In fact, chosen one, the closer you get to your destiny, the quieter his guidance becomes. Not because he is distant, but because he trusts that you are growing sharper. This is why you must pay attention to the subtle signals. The sudden heaviness when you think about someone. The unexpected peace when you consider a new direction. The random thought that rises in your spirit without warning. The tightening in your chest when you're about to repeat an old cycle. The feeling of spiritual pull, even when nothing looks different in the natural. These are not coincidences. These are instructions disguised as instincts. You've been asking God for signs, and God has been answering through your spirit. You just haven't recognized his voice because you were expecting thunder when he came as a whisper. Chosen one, discernment is not hearing heaven's voice. Discernment is recognizing which voice is heaven's. And now your spirit is ready. Chosen one, breathe deeply. We have reached the sacred threshold. Everything until now has been preparation, awakening, revelation, instruction. But this final part, is where heaven seals what has been spoken over your life. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Still your thoughts. Let the weight of every prophecy, every warning, every shift settle over you like a mantle. Because what you are stepping into now is not just prayer, it is activation. Heaven has been moving around you. Now heaven is about to move through you. Chosen one, listen. You are no longer the same person who pressed play. You are no longer carrying the same heaviness. You are no longer chained to the same delays. Your spirit has been elevated through every word you've heard. Your discernment sharpened, your vision expanded, your timeline realigned. And now heaven says, seal it. Beloved soul, let's enter this moment with reverence. Not fear, not hesitation. Reverence. Take a slow breath. Feel the atmosphere around you change. This is holy ground. Heavenly Father, Ancient of Days, the one who formed galaxies with breath and yet calls this chosen one by name, we come before you now with open hearts, surrendered spirits, and awakened understanding. Lord, you have spoken through the pressure. You have whispered through the unrest. You have called this child into alignment with divine timing. And now we ask you to release the fullness of what you intend for their life. Chosen one, keep your mind open. These words are being spoken over you and into you. Father, thank you for every revelation you have unveiled. Thank you for exposing what was hidden. Thank you for revealing the influence that slowed their destiny. Thank you for removing the distractions that were disguised as comfort. Thank you for protecting them even when they didn't know danger was near. And God, we acknowledge something sacred. This chosen one is stepping into a season that demands divine covering. So we ask now, send angels to surround their steps. Let Michael stand guard over every door they walk through. Let Gabriel whisper clarity into their spirit when their mind grows weary. Let your presence become their compass, their shield, their guide. Chosen one, feel this. Heaven is leaning in to hear your yes. Father, we declare with authority that every delay over their life breaks now. Every chain of hesitation snaps now. Every cycle of confusion ends now. Every voice that discouraged them falls silent now. Every counterfeit connection dissolves now. And in its place, let purpose rise. Let clarity rise. Let peace rise. Let new strength rise like light breaking through morning fog. Lord, anoint their mind. Let every anxious thought melt under your peace. Anoint their emotions. Let healing flood the places where old wounds tried to linger. Anoint their hands. Let everything they touch carry divine favor. Anoint their steps. Let their path shine with supernatural direction. Chosen one, let these words settle into your bones. You are not walking into your future, you are walking into what heaven already finished. Father, speak destiny over them now. Align their heart with the scroll you wrote long before they were born. Let every promise you declared come alive. Let every divine appointment move toward them. Let every provision be released without delay. And God, we ask for one more thing. Give them courage. Holy courage. The courage to move when you say move. The courage to release what no longer belongs. The courage to step into rooms their ancestors prayed for. The courage to walk through the gate before it closes. Chosen one, this is not just prayer. This is a covenant being etched into the spirit realm. Now listen as I speak directly to your soul. From this moment forward, nothing that was meant to break you will touch you. Nothing that was meant to confuse you will bind you. Nothing that was meant to distract you will delay you. The gate is open and you will walk through it, but we are not done. The second half of this prayer carries the final seal, the spiritual signature that completes everything heaven has spoken.